Just after the last election, I did a video on The Voice then. We had a rough idea of the question, the content that was going to be put to the Australian people. But a lot of time has passed since then. We've now got a much firmer grasp. We know the official question that's going to be asked of the Australian people, as well as the actual words that would be added to the Constitution on a yes vote. If you look at my last video, I gave a bit of a breakdown about how referendums actually work in Australia, who gets to have a say in the outcome, how that process actually works, and some of the history of how many have actually succeeded, not many, in the past. I'm going to try to avoid retreading that ground here, except where it's relevant. That info is still really relevant. It's still current, so I suggest that you do go check out that other video if you're interested in those sort of topics. What I want to do today is have a look at the different views on The Voice and summarize some of the pro cases and the anti cases that are being made in this campaign. I really want to try to give a bit of air and a bit of space to all the parties that are actually having a say on this. And the way that that's going to shake out in this video is it's probably going to look like there are a lot more people opposed to The Voice than are in favour of it, and more opposed to it than probably necessarily are. Given the way that referendums work in Australia, again, go check out my other video on that. It's all still current. It's all still relevant. Opinion polling is not really a relevant metric for this. Having said that, even Sky News has support for The Voice sitting at 53% as of the 6th of March. So that's relatively recent. What it shows us is there's a bit of a divide, 50-50 split-ish. But the reason it's going to look like there are a lot of voices opposed to the referendum is because there's a variety of reasons why they are opposed to it. So for the pro camp, there's really one reason that they're for it. Whereas for the anti-camp, there's a whole different range of reasons that they're drawing from here. There are people who are opposed to it because they think it's a purely symbolic gesture. There are people who are opposed to it because they're advocating for treaties. They're prioritising treaties over a voice to Parliament. And they think that The Voice might actually take away from that process. And then there are others who are opposed to it simply because they don't get it or they're deliberately spreading misinformation. It's hard to tell the difference between the two sometimes. What I want to do is explore them all and give them all air in a pretty reasonable way where I can. I'm not I'm not infallible on this, but it is important to me that I present them in the light that they're trying to present themselves. So that we're all on the same page about what the question actually is, what the content actually is. I'm just going to read it out here. So here is the question that will be put to the Australian people on referendum day. A proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Do you approve this proposed alteration? So that's the question. And then the content that would actually be included in the Constitution, the amendment that would actually be made, would read as follows. In recognition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the First Peoples of Australia, 1. There shall be a body to be called the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Voice. 2. The Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Voice may make representations to the Parliament and the Executive Government of the Commonwealth on matters relating to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. 3. The Parliament shall, subject to this Constitution, have power to make laws with respect to matters relating to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice, including its composition, functions, powers, and procedures. So that's the content that will be put to the Australian people to vote on referendum day. So with all that in mind, let's jump right in. Here's a summary of the pro-voice case.